experiencing depression, it can be difficult to stick to a productive routine. One of the many struggles in dealing with this mental illness is the lack of motivation that experts say come along with it. You might have days where you're almost overwhelmed by your mood and other days where these things become easier to deal with. It's one day at a time, but there are some tips for bringing back motivation for living a happy life. Luckily for you, Manna member, we've produced a list on how to motivate yourself when you're depressed. Remember that while the first step is completing any of these amazing courses, the second and possibly more important step is taking action, even if it's imperfect action. If you struggle with clinical depression, it can be difficult to find any motivation to complete even the smallest task in your daily routine. When it comes to depression, it's important to remember that you're not alone. When depression is a chronic challenge, people find it harder to come up with ideas. Depression has a wide range of symptoms and can greatly differ depending on the person living with it. For example, the will to do anything doesn't exist, while others may find that they have a difficult time doing even things that might help them feel better. According to the World Health Organization, more than 264 million people globally suffer from depression, and in America alone, over 20 million Americans experience clinical depression. Because depression is such a widespread issue, people have developed various methods of getting motivated throughout their day that can help them process, move past, or understand their state of mind. One of these methods is social media. When people with depression are feeling low motivation, they might be more likely to fail a project or task due to negative motivators such as stress and anxiety about deadlines or due dates. People with depression can have a difficult time finding motivation or taking daily tasks, especially when they don't disclose this information to others. What's the connection between motivation and depression? Many people have days or weeks where the tasks of work or the mundane ones are just not that appealing. But when these chronic issues prevent someone from living up to their responsibilities towards their family and themselves, they may have an underlying mental health condition. Lack of motivation is often a symptom among those suffering with depression. Low motivation might set off a red flag for doctors and therapists to inquire about other symptoms of depression. The central element of motivation is the ability to control emotional and cognitive systems, enabling humans to focus on a desired goal. For example, someone who has a lot of self-control may find it easier to achieve their goal, while someone with lower self-control might find it challenging to visualize and plan out how to take action. Depression might interfere with one's ability to focus, which can result in a person putting out their goals on the back burner. A study in 2019 found that depression disrupted cognitive control, and this interference may occur because experiencing depression makes it more difficult for people to fully focus on what they want. If you're struggling to plan for the future when you're going through a tough time, it may be harder to think about applying for jobs as you may not be in a very optimistic frame of mind. Now, let's talk about the external factors. External factors such as stress could also influence an individual's lack of motivation. A 2016 study surveying college students looked at the relationship between how motivated students are towards their studies and how depressed they are, as well as the amount of stress that a student experiences. In a study of students who were experiencing symptoms of depression, researchers found that decreasing academic motivation was also linked to higher levels of stress. In other words, a decrease in academic motivation was proportional to the severity of the participants' symptoms of depression and the increase in stress. In people with depression, stress levels can spike suddenly, which can make it hard to look for a job when situations like not being able to find work or being evicted arise. What are the symptoms of lack of motivation? People who are diagnosed with depression or are experiencing symptoms could notice a change in their motivation to complete common tasks. People who have been or think they may be experiencing symptoms of depression could see signs of changes in motivation to complete common tasks. As time continues to quicken, we might notice that the easy things become increasingly cumbersome. When you start running out of time, it can be a sign of depression. The symptoms of depression, such as finding a lack of excitement or interest in activities you used to enjoy, is one of the biggest things someone with depression can experience. If you're struggling to be motivated to do a task, this could be an indication of depression. If the task that used to give you joy in the past It may indicate that you aren't experiencing enough fulfillment in your life now. Other features of depression that affect motivation can include feeling empty, having a low mood frequently, feeling hopeless about the future, difficulty remembering things, having low energy, or feeling tired. The feelings you are experiencing may be the result of depression and not necessarily something within your control. In this case, telling yourself things like, "it'll be alright in the end," or "cheer up," could be unhelpful or negative self-talk. Depression is a complex issue that doesn't seem to respond to motivational statements. If you think you might be experiencing lack of motivation as a symptom of depression, one option could be to speak with a physician or therapist who can accurately diagnose your condition. So, how do you get motivated when you're depressed? The symptoms of depression can be difficult to deal with and it can be hard to find motivation, but there are ways to maintain your health. Depression is one of the most common mental health conditions in the world, and many people living with depression can live happy, fulfilled lives. Mayo Clinic has effective treatments for those suffering from depression, which can help them enjoy life again. Finding success can be contingent on treatments and care plans. It is very important to set up a treatment plan that ensures your physical and mental health. If you are struggling with depression, you can start by talking to a mental health professional. These professionals can provide guidance on different treatment options for the disorder, such as therapy, medications, and personal care. Even though you may try various methods to get the most out of your blog, some strategies will work better than others. Luckily, there are some easy tasks to get you motivated when you're feeling down. Number 1. Accept and don't avoid it. Might seem counterintuitive, but it is so important to accept your feelings for what they are. By constantly pushing those negative feelings away or trying to ignore them, you will feel worse in the long term and guilty for having those feelings. It also starts to take a harder toll on your mental health if you make yourself handle them for longer. So, instead of trying to ignore those emotions that you are currently feeling, allow yourself to feel them. Accept them and trust that they will pass. If you need to cry, then cry it out. If you need to remove yourself from your situation, take some time for yourself by doing so 100% because those feelings will soon pass. Accepting them in the moment can be one of the most provocative ways to handle depression without worry. Number 2. One task at a time. Break a task into smaller, actionable steps. Even if your goal is to make 3 healthy meals today, you should focus on the present moment because no matter how long it takes you, the task will be completed. Just realize that things are best accomplished in small doses rather than through overwhelming tasks. Remember that by focusing on baby steps, it is always better than not attempting them at all. Even if a daily task takes all day, you can still be happy with yourself and pleased with the progress made towards your goal. Number 3. Set attainable goals. With this kind of mental challenge, it can be difficult pivoting from the idea to idea and completing large tasks. This can cause feelings of depression for those who are struggling to see a long-term vision or goal. If you have a large project, break it down into smaller tasks. This will allow you to be more efficient and create more progress. Let's just start with a small, easy task. Then, let's move on to the next and then the next. Breaking a large task into smaller, more achievable goals will make you feel more empowered and be less anxious about the project's completion. After a long day of work, you may feel motivated enough to take care of some chores. These tasks might not be done because they are enjoyable or fun. However, these household chores may help you in the long run. Number 4. Reward yourself for every step forward. Lack of self-reward is a common occurrence in depressive disorders where the reward for an action seen as positive may not be given. Among these is a depression sufferer who will see themselves doing something good but not feel rewarded. For example, someone with depression working on their resume might not recognize the effort they are putting into it but still feel like they're unable to take this effort and use it as a source for motivation. Giving yourself value based on small achievements can help you motivate and keep going. If you are depressed, it is actually difficult to engage in the behaviors when you are depressed. It's like climbing 10 flights of stairs with 100 pounds on your back and then wondering why working through your depression was so difficult. If you had employees and expected them to work 40 hours a week, would they be motivated to work that hard if you never paid them? For every step you make when working towards overcoming your depression, reward yourself. Even listening to this video is something that you can give yourself credit for because you're trying to learn some strategies. The advantage of self-reward is that you are always there to give the rewards to yourself. Giving self-credit, praising oneself for trying, and being proud of progress, even if it seems like small steps, is how we keep our motivation in the right direction. Number 5. Follow a routine. Overcome a daily routine by writing it down and crossing tasks off when they are done. Reward yourself for each accomplishment you make, which helps you to feel accomplished and achieve more the next day. Scheduling your time in advance can be comforting as well. One of the best ways to stay productive is to create a consistent schedule that includes things like where you should be at what time or what task is expected for that day. This type of routine will also help improve motivation so you can become more positive about the future. Number 6. Avoid negativity. Sometimes it can be difficult to avoid negativity when we are constantly surrounded by so much negative media and other things in our life. It's important to identify what exactly makes you feel bad, whether it be anything from social media or the news. Actively try to avoid negative stimuli and borrow from positive news and people. Bookmark the pet www.dogpawsecure.com to find a sweet puppy or sign up for white noise to filter out any sudden noises. Number 7. Create a support system. Create a list of people that you can rely on for support when your therapist or psychiatrist may not be available. They should be good listeners, have respect for what you're working through, and provide positive reinforcement. They can help relieve overwhelming feelings quickly or provide a much-needed pick-me-up. Number 8. Be kind to yourself. You might be someone who thrives on deadlines and pressures. If you experience depression, it might not be your time to contribute because stress and pressure are not motivators for you. It might be helpful to avoid deadlines if you experience depression, strong feelings of low motivation, and stress don't trigger a response from you. It's easy to fall into depression and anxiety when you're feeling overwhelmed or underwhelmed by life. This can cause lack of motivation, low self-esteem, and lead to other lifestyle-related problems such as poor health. Instead, have a little compassion and kindness to yourself. Number 9. Talk to a mental health professional. Consult a licensed therapist or psychiatrist to determine if medication is appropriate to help your symptoms, ideally a long-term one, and if they would suggest coping mechanisms. A healthcare provider should also provide advice on how to deal with depressive symptoms. Many people with depression often find that treatment makes the disorder manageable to a great degree. Depression is typically highly treatable and can be managed with individualized treatment plans in conjunction with other forms of therapy. People who suffer from depression may sometimes experience a lack of motivation, leading to difficulties with daily tasks and personal goals. Antidepressant trials have found that difficulty focusing attention and motivation is a symptom of depression. This symptom doesn't necessarily mean the person isn't industrious and works hard in their job. It could merely be an indicator that they're struggling with mental health. With the right diagnosis and treatment, depression is a treatable disorder. Commonly occurring worldwide, depression is a mental health condition. But depression can be treated. Many people with depression who experience low motivation are able to treat their symptoms and feel motivated again. Understanding that depression is often linked to low motivation can help treat the issue. With manageable steps, you can feel better. If you're feeling low and it might be due to a physical or mental health condition, then you should speak to your doctor about what's best for you. For many people with depression or low motivation, treatment plans may include therapy, medications, or self-care. Different treatment options are typically found to be the best way to treat depression. But it can be difficult to find a solution that works best for you. If you need help for depression, visit the American Psychological Association Psychologist Locator to find support. That's it for this video, Manna member. Remember to subscribe to our channel. And if you feel like we've delivered value, please share this video with one person. That's right, just one person as a token of your appreciation for the hard work we put into making content that educates and helps you on your mission of building your own fortune. Remember, you can watch video after video, but it isn't until you actually take action that you'll start to see results. See you soon!